Hello, good people. So, a lot of people are worried about other people during this coronavirus event that we're all collectively experiencing. And, I just want to say worry is not useful, and worry makes you feel bad. It makes you feel actually increasingly helpless and frustrated. And when I'm worried about someone, I don't get kinder and more helpful. I get more controlling, more tense. I keep myself awake. I keep my own needs from being met. I, in no way am I then more able to serve them. I know that when I've been able to help people, it's been through inspired action. That if in an open, uh, at ease sort of place, something flashes to me, or I intuit something, or just an idea pops in, and I follow that, and it may or may not be the right thing, but it leads me down a path that actually ends up doing some good. And that doesn't come of worry. That comes of feeling clear, feeling trusting, feeling that I can only do what I can do and that there's much beyond my control and that I'm willing to release all of that. So when we're worried about people, we're not releasing what's beyond our control. We're trying just through the machinations of worry to manage what happens to someone. We don't want them to get sick, and we don't want them to suffer, and we don't want them to feel a certain thing, and we're sad that they're lonely, and we're worried that they will have this or that happen down in the future. I want to remind you once again, and if you know all about it, or you've heard me talk about it, or whatever, I invite you to hear it with beginner's mind. Use the Buddhist trick to come in and really hear this as if for the first time, so that you get the freshest, most powerful take on it, and you are open to seeing something new or just really integrating it at a deeper level. Three kinds of business from Byron Katie. Something can be your business, someone else's business, or the universe's. And when you're worried about someone, you're in their business and you're in the universe's business. So in other words, you're not here with yourself minding your own business. And I don't mean that in the mean way that we grow up hearing, mind your own business, in a shitty way that tells us we're a bad person. I mean that you are actually tending, showing up for, giving love to, bringing attention to, doing good work around what's actually yours to do. Byron Katie teaches leaving your business as self-abandonment. That you are no longer home, you're no longer with you, you're no longer in your sphere of control, if you will, where whatever you do actually has a purpose, has meaning, actually accomplishes something, does check off a box, or does just simply make sense because it's aligned, because it's yours. So there's a super cool thing in Tosha Silver's Outrageous Openness. Great book if you haven't read it. It's a fun book. It's both light and deep at the same time. And she talks about worry, and that when you send someone worry, think of it as sort of like packing up a box or a FedEx envelope or something with ashes and bits of skull and toxic substances, and you seal it up real good and you send it off. And that I loved that. It's just such a clear, strong metaphor, and that is what worry feels to me. I do not feel like I'm giving somebody something good when I send them worry. So I want to invite you to some other possibilities, because we're worried that our loved ones will die, or they'll get infected, or we worry that they aren't going to pull through when we already know they're in bad shape, or we worry about their loneliness, or we worry about whatever, that they're not moving things forward, that they're not going to be okay financially. So many things we can worry about. And remember that when we start to like make up a future, I remember when I was having a really hard time with my kid being suicidal at one point, and I would catch myself rehearsing mentally being at their funeral. And it was like, oh, it was so useful to catch myself in that and just see, look what I'm doing. I'm voting for what I don't want. I'm in the future, so I'm obviously out of my business. Right now is where I need to be, because right now is the only time I could possibly do them any good to support what I vote for, which is stay alive, or just to support myself so that I'm in the calmest, clearest, kindest space, so that when the openings happen, I'm there. So alternatives to worry. First of all, when you notice that you're in a future about someone, call yourself back to now and then ask it, which is your business. In time, now is your business. So, and then in that now moment, is there anything I can do for them right now? And if you see something, do it. Or in that now moment, can I send them love instead of worry? Can I close my eyes and just, instead of feeling worry, can I locate the heart space, breathe into that, and just love them? Instead of picturing horrible things happening for them, or terrible outcomes, or horrible pain that they're not equipped to manage, what if I pictured that they have a good cry, and that and imagine that I'm holding them, or if I can't, that a friend comes and holds them, and I'm cool with somebody else being the hero of the hour, or that I imagine their angel holding them, or a spirit animal curling up around them. Or what if I go back over memories of when we've loved each other and been together, and I just smile and laugh and weep over those memories, and just let that be what fills my heart. So, and if it's not quick to get to that, or if that feels too far away, well, here's a intermediate step, that you would just drop in for a moment to what the worry feels like in your body. Just drop in. Don't, worry takes us to the edges of ourselves. It takes us off where we're shaky and edgy. And so come back to the core of you. Locate the breath. Do it right now. If, as you hear me, if you're worried about someone now, or can just reach for someone you're worried about. Can you drop in, locate the worry in your body, breathe it. Let's say you can feel it in your chest, and the lungs are right there anyway. So as you just drop into the breath, stay with it, feel its opening and closing, coming and going. Really direct breathing into the heart space, and feel the tension, the pain, and just what feels bad, what feels disconnecting and disconnected about being in worry. But don't judge it. Worry is a normal human thing to feel. So breathe it, feel it. From there, can you grope for love? Or just for a neutral sort of holding the other person in the heart space with the breath? Okay, let's try another one. Another tactic is saying to yourself, as you imagine the person, I release you to your life, and I release myself to mine. So that gives them back their business. Their life is their business. Or it gives it back to the universe. Universe's business, when and how and whether people live or die. And then you release yourself to your business. Your life is your business. So you might need to say that 1,000,000 times in a day. You think of the person, you catch yourself worrying, and just one more time in this now moment. That's all that matters anyway. It's not a plug that you pull forever. It's just right now. Right now I release you to your life, and I release myself to mine. And let them have their life. Let them, give them permission to be on a human journey where there's physical pain, and there's struggle, and there's emotional pain, and there's sorrow. Give everyone you love permission to be on a human journey. And hey, you're not doing them a favor if you see them as a victim. If someone dies of the coronavirus, they are not a victim of the coronavirus. That is simply the door they walked through. We're all going to walk through some door or another to get to our death. It might be this virus. That's okay. There aren't better and worse deaths. Really, some deaths happen in war, and in utero, and in crimes of passion, accidents, illnesses. It's really okay. Sometimes people fall asleep and don't wake up. It's really all okay, even if we want to stamp some deaths with that's a good one and others with that's a bad one. So, it would help even if right now you give everyone you love permission to die of the coronavirus and give yourself the same permission. And then let go. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to predict it. You don't need to sit around opening and closing that piece of paper and folding it back up and unfolding it. And you just burn it. Just burn it. And when it tries to reassert itself, just say, hey, I release you to your life. And I release myself to mine. And it's okay if you die of this. And I will grieve. I am willing to grieve you. You're worth grieving. I love you. You've been beautiful and you are beautiful. And I love that I got to know you. Oh, that's much more powerful than worry. Hey, my kid's in New York City right now. One of my kids. Really bad place to be in the U.S. if we're going to sort things out into good and bad bins. And my kid wants to be in New York City. And sometimes my kid freaks out. And sometimes my kid is lonely. And sometimes my kid reports that they're working and excited about what they're doing. Or that they're laughing with friends. Or that they found this cool thing online. Or that they went out and walked around for a while wearing a mask and staying away from people. Or that they lay awake but they were actually able to calm themselves and get okay with being awake. My kids never reported that to me before. It's always been, no, your tactics don't work. Shut up. I'm not going to breathe during the night. So, is it a problem that my kids in New York City during this? No, it's not. And the mama part of me that might make it a problem, I'm supposed to soothe her, not my kid, not try to prevent my kid from his journey. So let me talk about that. Let me talk about the fact that when you worry about others, bring it back to you. Bring it back to you for a moment. And I love Byron Katie's statement, the hell you fear is the hell you're already in. So if you're fearful for somebody else, well, you're in hell right now, worrying about them in that scenario you're making up that they can't handle, or that future you think you don't vote for. So get yourself out of hell by coming back to now and being with yourself now and breathing yourself, calming yourself, soothing yourself. Maybe write down your thoughts. I just heard Eckhart Tolle talk about how when you bring awareness to your thoughts, when you're not just in the throes of your thinking and believing it, but you at the very least take that one step back to notice, these are thoughts, and I'm using these thoughts to make myself feel bad, and they're doing no good to me or anybody else. Just that level of awareness takes you out of the full grip of the thoughts you're in that keep you in autopilot when you're just perseverating and worrying and following from one thought to the next. And then all you can possibly experience is what those thoughts yield. So worry, the thought patterns that we could put the word worry to, really make you feel bad. And again, they're disempowering. They remove you from your guidance system. You aren't receptive to inspiration then. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I want to tell you? Wonder if anybody put a question. People don't really put questions on these, at least not so far. All right, so let me know if you do have any questions. Stay out of worry. Walk yourself back out of worry, back to yourself, back to now, back to love, back to permission for the other person to be on their journey. Release them to their journey. I release you to your life. I release myself to mine. Keep yourself sane, not in worry. You're not loving when you're worrying. So bring yourself back to love. And sometimes you get to just distract yourself and laugh and be inspired. Sometimes you need to just look at the reality of what's happening, but you're not in the reality if you're just looking at the bad stuff. And you're voting for what you don't want when you sit around projecting horrible ends. So take care, and I'm going to keep showing up every day. I'm coming on usually roughly around 3, and I'm loving you.